Night draped over Ouagadougou like a velvet cloak. The streets were empty, the moon pouring its quiet silver over the city. Inside a small, heavily guarded private hospital, the air was thick with tension. Nurses hurried through the corridors, voices low, eyes grave. In one room, a woman lay on a bed, her breathing shallow, her hands gripping the sheets. She was the wife of President Ibrahim Traoré, a woman few even knew existed. For years, the president had kept his family hidden from the public eye, not out of shame, but out of protection. He knew what power could do, how easily it could touch those closest to him. Even in public, when she appeared at his side, she was covered in a white hijab, her face unseen, her presence quiet and dignified. Those who met her said she was gentle, peaceful, and deeply faithful. But tonight, peace was far away. She was in labor, and it was hard. Doctors whispered among themselves, their eyes shadowed with worry. Sweat rolled down her face as she fought for each breath. One nurse adjusted the IV, another wiped her forehead. "She's losing strength," murmured one doctor. "We may have to operate." Outside, soldiers guarded the gates, unaware of the storm unfolding within. Far from there, in another country, President Traoré was in a high-level security meeting. His phone vibrated again and again, until finally he excused himself and answered. The tone of the doctor's voice froze his blood. "Mr. President, your wife is in labor. We're doing everything we can." For a moment, Traoré couldn't speak. His hand trembled around the phone. Is she all right?" he asked quietly. "She's in pain, sir. If she weakens further, we may need an emergency surgery." That was all he needed to hear. He stood abruptly, murmured an apology, and left the meeting without another word. His ministers watched, stunned, as their leader walked out and boarded his private jet. As the planes tore through the night sky, he sat in silence, fingers wrapped around his prayer beads. "Ya Allah, give her strength, protect her, protect my child," he whispered. Hours later, the plane touched down. His convoy slipped through the quiet streets toward the hospital. No cameras, no crowd, only a husband racing to reach his wife. When he entered the room, she was pale, trembling with every contraction. Her hijab clung to her damp skin, her face streaked with tears. But when she saw him, her eyes lit up, just a flicker of relief through the pain. "Ibrahim, I'm so tired. I can't go on," she breathed weakly. He took her hand and sat beside her. He said, "You can. You're strong. Allah is with you. You can do this." A doctor approached carefully. "Mr. President, her condition is critical. We've done everything we can. It's time for surgery." Traoré looked at him, calm but firm. "No, she will not be operated on. She has the strength to give birth naturally. I've prayed, and I believe Allah will help her." The room fell silent. Even the nurses paused. There was something unshakable in his voice that made everyone stop. He leaned close to his wife again. He whispered, "Listen to me. Our child is waiting. Fight. For us, for this nation, for yourself." She looked up at him, eyes brimming with tears and courage. Slowly, she nodded. "I'll try again." Minutes stretched into eternity. She pushed with the last of her strength, crying out in pain. Traoré never left her side. his hand locked around hers, his uniform soaked in sweat, his lips moving in prayer. And then, a cry. A sharp, beautiful newborn cry filled the room. Everyone froze. Then the doctor smiled in disbelief. "It's a boy!" he shouted. Applause, tears. The tiny voice grew louder, echoing like music. Traoré stood in awe, tears spilling down his cheeks. His wife smiled through her exhaustion. He touched her forehead gently. "Alhamdulillah, Allah has done it," he whispered. The doctor shook his head, still stunned. "Sir, it's a miracle. We thought she couldn't make it without surgery." The president smiled faintly. When faith speaks, science listens. He gazed at his newborn son, fragile, perfect. In that moment, nothing else mattered. Not politics, not power, only family. Scene 6. Inside the time machine. The chamber glows with blue lights. Screens flicker. The machine hums. Alex says, "Coordinates set. Jurassic era, 65 million years back." Alina smirks and says, "Let's make history." Richard adjusts his glasses nervously, or break it completely. Suddenly, the machine starts vibrating. A bright light fills the entire chamber. Sound effects, electric humming, and countdown tone. 3, 2, 1. Whoosh! Scene 7. Inside the time vortex. They're floating through a tunnel of swirling energy. Galaxies, lightning, energy waves. Alina shouts, "Hold tight! We're losing stability!" Richard, filled with wonder, says, "This is incredible!" The machine spins faster, and then blinding white. Scene 8. The crash landing. The time machine crashes through dense forest leaves. The ground shakes. A giant fern bursts into flames. Alex gasps, "We made it. We're really here." Alina steps outside slowly. The air is thick, humid, and alive with strange sounds. Bird-like cries echo in the distance. Richard looks at the ground and whispers, "That's not bird tracks." Scene 9. The first encounter. The bushes move. Something massive breathes behind them. A shadow grows, then a huge eye blinks open. A Tyrannosaurus right in front of them. Alina freezes. Alex whispers, "Don't move." The dinosaur growls, sniffing the air, then suddenly roars, "Rah!" Richard falls backward screaming, "I think it saw us." They dash behind rocks as the T-Rex stomps closer. The earth shakes with every step. Alina whispers, "We need to distract it." Alex nods, pulling a flare gun. He fires into the sky. Red light bursts through the jungle. The dinosaur turns away, roaring into the light. They run the other direction, gasping for breath. Richard pants, "Next time, let's visit ancient Rome instead." Scene 10. The safe zone. They find a small cave near a river. Inside, glowing rocks illuminate the walls.
Alina says softly, "We just saw a living dinosaur, and it almost saw us dead." They all laugh nervously, realizing how fragile this mission is.
Scene 11. Night in the cave. The storm outside has stopped. Inside, the team sits quietly near the glowing rocks. Richard examines his scanner. He says, "Radiation is low. Oxygen is stable. We can survive here. For now." Alex looks out through the cave opening. "We need samples. DNA, fossils, something to prove we were here." Alina nods. "At sunrise, we move." Scene 12. The Valley of Giants. The next morning, golden sunlight pierces through giant trees. Dozens of dinosaurs roam peacefully below, Brachiosaurus grazing, pterodactyls soaring. Alina whispers, "It's beautiful." Richard smiles. "History, alive in front of us." They move down carefully, collecting data. Alex sets up the drone camera, scanning the area. Suddenly, the ground trembles. Something massive is approaching. A herd of triceratops stampedes through the valley, thundering footsteps. Alina yells, "Run to higher ground!" The drone crashes. Richard grabs the hard drive before it's crushed. They dive behind a fallen log as the herd storms past. Scene 13. The Discovery. Silence returns. Alex notices strange glowing rocks in the mud, forming a circular pattern. He says softly, "This isn't natural." Richard scans it and gasps. It's the same energy signature as our time core. Alina realizes, wait, this place, this pattern, it's a portal. Alex whispers, or someone else's portal. A faint mechanical hum echoes nearby. They follow it and freeze. Another time machine, covered in vines, ancient yet human-made. Scene 14. The Message. Richard wipes dust from its surface and activates a hologram. A man appears, older, scarred. He looks exactly like Alex. The hologram says, "If you're hearing this, it means you made it. But listen carefully. Do not stay here. Time isn't a place, it's a living thing, and it remembers you."